Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello students, welcome to Chaitanya Studio BBA lecture series of Babasaheb Ambedkar University. Today I will discuss Unit 2, Evolution of Management. The learning objectives of this Unit 2 are as follows: to study several schools of management thought, to understand the concept of management as a profession, also to understand professionalization of management in India. So just begin with the unit. The first topic, history of management. The history of management is it is as old as human civilization. So what does it mean? The traces of management can be found in our ancient history too. Ancient civilization of Egypt, Greece and Rome depict some features of good management practices in the form of great pyramids, and also leadership and war tactics of Greeks, and also Roman Catholic Church from Rome. So all these examples are having some traces of good management practice. So we can say that management used to be there in ancient history too. Management as a discipline has started to be evolved in late 19th century. Management thinkers organize and identify various approaches based on some information collected from the history. So what our thinkers, our ancient management thinkers started working on the information which were prevailed earlier, and they worked upon that information, and now we can see slowly, gradually this information has taken in the form of some schools of management thought which we studied today, and based on these kind of information where various approaches has been identified. These approaches of management are the theoretical framework. So they are framework, it means similar kind of management perspective beliefs are organized in one kind of thoughts. That's why we can say that these are some theoretical frameworks. There are several kind of management approaches. So broadly it is divided as a classical school of management thought, behavioral approaches which is neoclassical school of management thought, management approaches, and next to management approaches it is modern school of management thought which envisages the system approach and contingency approach. Here we can say, let me give glimpses of some schools of management thought, how from the history the different management of thoughts have been evolved out. So classical school of management thought began from 1880s to 1920s. So having the scientific school of management thought, administrative management school of thought, bureaucratic management thought, and next to behavioral school of management thought envisages human relation approaches, also behavioral science approaches. Next to this, quantitative school of management thought evolved out after the 1950, around 1940s it started to evolve out. And next to quantitative schools of management thought, system school of approach evolved out, and next to this contingency school of management thought has evolved out. So let's begin with the first classical school of management approach. So in classical school of management approach, the thinkers of scientific school of management is Taylor, Gilbert H.L. Gantt, Harrington Emerson, and next for administrative theory it is Feuer, Urwick, Chester Barnard, Max Weber, and similarly The credit for behavioral approach for the human relation movement goes to Elton Mayo in the form of he just conducted the experiment, Hawthorne experiment it is called. So, the credit goes to Elton Mayo for the human relation movement. Next, in the behavioral approach, it comes behavioral science approach, and the thinkers for behavioral science approach is the Abraham Maslow, which each and every management student know very well, the fundamentals of Maslow need of hierarchy, and Douglas McGregor. Next to management approach, there is managerial decision approach and mathematical models. So, broadly these are some approaches. Now, let me elaborate on each kind of management school of thought. First, I will take classical school of thought. So, exactly this is the oldest school of management thought, and it is concerned with ways to manage work and organization more efficiently. So, what exactly classical school of thought focused on the manage work and organization more efficiently. It believes that employees have only economical and physical need. What? They have only economical and physical need, and they do not need any social interaction and job satisfaction. So, this is very significant point of classical school of management thought, that this school of management thought had not pondered upon the social interaction and job satisfaction. They only focused upon the economical and physical need of the employee. So, this school of management thought advocate high specialization of labor, centralized decision making and profit maximization. So, centralized decision making means the power of decision making lies in the hand of top authority only. The lower level of executives or workers, they are not permitted to take their own decisions. And the three kind of management thoughts under the umbrella of classical school of management thought are scientific school of management thought, administrative school of management thought or approaches, and bureaucratic approaches. Now, discuss the scientific school of management thought. So, this approach emphasizes on the technical aspect of the work at the expense of workers' personal aspect. It means the core idea of scientific management was the work only. They did not care about the workers' personal aspect. According to this approach, there is only one best way to do job, which is the scientific way of doing job. So, they say that the employee cannot do work in their own way. They said, you need to work whatever is told by us. So, there is only one best way of doing job. And how it is decided? Scientific management is a theory which analyzes and synthesizes workflows with the objective of improving labor productivity. It's mean they have given that one standardized manner of doing job, that which is by proper analyzing the work and workflows. So, they said no rule of thumb will be applied. Workers cannot do their work their own. You have to do work as per our instruction, as per the top authorities' instructions. So, the contributors of scientific management are the Frederick W Taylor, whom is also called as the father of scientific management, and another, I mentioned this the name of thinkers earlier too, Gilbert, Gantt and Emerson. Now discuss one by one the contribution of each thinker towards the particular management approach. The contribution of Taylor, F.W. Taylor, who is the father of scientific management school of thought, he just eliminated the rule of thumbs and which was replaced by the precise procedure. What was the precise procedure? It was a systematic way of doing work, which was systematic way of doing work achieved through proper planning and scheduling of the work. What to be done, how to be done, it was decided by the top authority and it was circulated among the workers that you have to do work in this manner, in particular manner. There is one way of doing the job which can bring efficiency and effectiveness. According to Taylor, this was the thought. He also set some work standards and time standards. So earlier, wherever he used to work, Taylor find that workers are doing their work very haphazardly. There are no standard of doing work. One worker is making 20 units, suppose another is making 30 units. There were no standards earlier, but when he just brought his management approach, he just focused that there should be some work standards and also time standards, that you have to finish your work within this time period of line. Next, also he suggested that the staff should be employed on scientific basis and also properly trained slowly and gradually, so that efficiency of that worker be improved. So he totally rejected the dimension that taking any worker as he come to the organization. He said that a manager or top authority need to select a worker in a scientific manner, proper interview to be taken, his skills need to be assessed, then only he need to be placed at a certain position in the organization. So all these principles, by proper planning and scheduling of the work activities, by setting work standards and time standards, and also scientific manner of placement, all these thought just point towards bringing efficiency and effectiveness in the organization, and just focus only on work only, or work regarding activities only. Now quickly have a review on the contribution of Gilbert, Gantt and Emerson. So Frank and Lillian Gilbert, who were the engineers by the profession, just contributed through the motion and simplified work. They just work for updating the processes and reducing the processes. What they work, with the help of a camera, they study the work of employees and find out that what are the activities which are overburdened on a process. So if it is overburden on a process, they try to eliminate those elements of the process, so that efficiency can be bring up in the organization. And similarly, they also study in a manner that what are the lacunae in the process, so they incorporated those activity in the process, so that a process can be fulfilled up to the standards. So it is something motion study, we say, the contribution of the Gilbert. That next, the Gantt, Henry L. Gantt contribution. So he worked on work scheduling and also on the control process. So he invented Gantt chart and applied for scheduling of tasks. Even this particular chart is applied nowadays in the organization. Next, to discuss the contribution of Emerson. So Emerson studied or he contributed through the principle of efficiency. He also strongly advocate strict distinction among line and staff members or their activities. He also supported that increase wages of workers as per increased efficiency. So the contribution of Emerson, we can see that he just supported that if any worker is doing more work, he should be given the bonus for that work. And also he said that there should not be overlapping of the work. The line manager work is something else and the staff manager work is something else. So in that manner, Emerson contribute to the theory of scientific management. Now come to next theory of classical approach, that is administrative theory. So, administrative theory focused on total organization issue, while scientific management focus on the productivity of individual worker. So, this is the difference between the two approaches of scientific school of management thought, the classical approach. In classical approach, we have two school of management thought. First is scientific school of management thought, next is administrative school of management thought. We earlier discussed scientific school of management school of thought, and now administrative school of management thought. In this, it is the difference that this theory focus on in totality the organization issues, the work of organization, not the work of individual, and therefore it focuses on formalized administrative structure. It also advocate the clear division of work, and it also advocate delegation of power and authority to administrator. Based on these principles, he says that your organization efficiency and effectiveness can be improved. You should focus on totality, not on individual. So, this was the thought process of administrative school of management thought. And the contributor of administrative theory are Fayol, Urwick, Chester Barnard, Alvin Brown, Henry Dennison, Sheldon, and Max Weber. I think you might have heard few names earlier too. So, the best part of this theory that we all know that Fayol 14 management principle, which is the contribution of Henry Fayol, and we are going to discuss the same in this chapter. So, now discuss the 14 principles of management one by one. So, generally these principles are given for the improving the efficiency and effectiveness of organization, bringing a cohesion in the organization. So, the purpose behind the administrative theory was to uplift the total efficiency of the organization as a whole. So, first principle is division of labor. Division of labor, it means specialization promotes efficiency, accuracy, speeds, and thus productivity. So, this particular principle states that you need to allocate work to any employee in a manner that he do that work repetitively, so that his efficiency can be improved and better outcome or better productivity can be harnessed. Similarly, one example I can give at this level, that at the time of Uttarayan, the kite makers do one kind of work, and slowly gradually the speed of their work enhances, so that in 1 hour they can make more number of kites. So, this kind of fundamental can be applied according to administrative school of management thought in the organization, that division of labor, that you allocate the similar kind of activity, so any worker can become specialized in particular kind of task in future. Now, come to next, authority and responsibility. So, authority is the right to give orders to employees. So, this particular principle says that a manager should be given proper authority so that he can get work done by his employees. And simultaneously, when one person is or one manager is given authority, so the responsibility comes. The efficiency of management can be assessed based on how efficiently he is able to get his work done, whatever responsibility, whether he is able to shoulder or not. So, based on this, it is assessed, and authority and responsibility comes, we can say these are the sides of a coin. Next principle of management is discipline. So, it is the principle related to obedience, respect of rules. In the organization, it is the manager's responsibility to maintain the discipline. So, each and every employee of the organization abide the rules and regulations of the organization. He also maintained discipline in a manner that employee work for the objectives and for the vision and mission of the organization. So, all comes through the respect for the rules, through the maintaining discipline in the organization. Now, next come to very important principle, which is unity of command. So, it is something one employee should have one superior. What means a person or one employee should be given command by one superior only. What if he is given command by the more than one superior? It will be very chaotic situation later on. There will be confusion in the mind of that employee, and also at the time when any problem arises in future, there will be no accountability of any of superior if there are many in number. If one superior, one subordinate relationship, then easily it can be predicted that where is the problem. So, unity of command is employee should have only one superior, not than one superior. Next principle is subordination of each interest, which means the primary focus should be on organizational objectives, not their employees' personal objectives. So, each and every employee of the organization should work for the betterment of the organization. They should not think about their personal benefits, rather they should take decision which is fruitful for their organization. They should keep their personal objectives something at the lower level, and organization objectives should come as a priority. Next is unity of direction. Again, this is something very important principle, and it is all efforts are to be done in one direction. This principle advocates focus and unity in the task. It means that all employees or the organization should work for the attainment of the organizational objective. It should not be like this that one is doing X thing, another is doing Y thing. Everything should work in order, they should plan their activities so that organization objectives can be achieved and harmony can be maintained. There should not be any disharmony in the future. So, that is why they should work for one plan only. So, all efforts are in one direction. There is a difference between unity of command and unity of direction. Unity of command is one superior, one subordinate relationship. Here it is आपका all activities for one plan, or all activities should be in one direction. Come to next principle, that is remuneration. So, remuneration, it should be sufficient to keep employee motivated and productive. Let's first understand the remuneration means it is something benefits in the sense of something monetary and non-monetary, something dividend or any health insurance benefits, or something maybe the promotion, something like this. So, the remuneration to be given so that employee remain encouraged, motivated to do their work. They become more productive when they are given remuneration or benefits when they are doing more job. So, this kind of principle also need to keep in mind while for effective running of organization. Come to the next principle among the 14 principle, that is principle of equity. Very easy principle. It is something treat all employees fairly and impartially. There should be no discrimination based on the caste and creed and gender basis discrimination in the organization. Come to the next principle, that is the degree of centralization, the extent of centralization. So, centralization means when the power of decision making or something lies in the hand of top authority, that is called as centralization. So the extent, the degree of centralization should be balanced. It should not be that all the decision making always be done by the top authority, and it should not be happen that some significant decisions are taken by the mid level or lower level. So it totally depends what kind of situation prevails. So there should be a proper balance. The extent of decision making should be balanced, and all the degree of centralization depend on size of organization, the kind of organization, etc. And next principle among the 14 principles of management is scalar chain. So exactly, it is authoritative chain of command from top to bottom for the flow of information. Scalar chain is the chain of command from top to bottom, and through it the information passes from the top to bottom. And this scalar chain should be defined in a manner that a subordinate in the organization or any employee in the organization can talk very freely to their superiors in any matter, whether it is personal or professional. Next principle, it is principle of order. So the principle of order means here it is placing the proper resources in a exact manner wherever it is required. So it is right resources at right place at right time. Next principle, it is stability of tenure of personnel. So tenure means time phase of personnel or any employee in the organization. And this particular principle state that there should be stability in the tenure of a personnel. There should not be any frequent changes. What if you just any organization there is change in frequent positions of employees? There will be no consistency, and also there will be no loyalty from the point of view of any employee. So there should be tenure of personnel should be stable. It's mean minimize employee turnover and frequent changes in the position. These all should be minimized. Next principle, this is last second principle of 14 principles of FAIL, that is initiative. So the employee should be allowed to express new idea. So initiative, thus initiative explain, employee should be given opportunity to express their thought, their creativity, their innovative idea. The feeling of entrepreneurship can be created through this particular principle within the organization. And nowadays in most of the private sector, this kind of principle is most applied, which is the principles of initiative. And at the last, the principle is esprit de corps, which means the feeling of friendliness, unity, or loyalty. So it is something, the principle which advocate the involvement and unity of employees. And it also says that there should be atmosphere of mutual trust within the organization. The teamwork should be, accelerated, and also they should say that employees should be told that they should work in united manner so that harmony can be maintained in the organization. They should work in cohesion, no much conflict arises, no much confusion arises, and all people work in synergistic manner for the betterment of the organization. So this was all about the 14 principles of the management given by the FAIL. So till now we have discussed the history of management, which lies in the ancient history of Greek and Romans. Next we have discussed various school of management thought, in which we studied the classical school of management thought, in which I have taken earlier scientific school of management thought, and I have taught certain contribution by thinkers like Taylor, Gilbert, Emerson, etc. Next to this, I have taken the administrative school of management thought, in which I have mentioned few names of the thinkers, and in those names the major contribution by Henry Fayol, the 14th principle I have mentioned just now, and I have elaborated each and every principle deeply. So this was all about the portion of second unit. The leftover objectives of this unit will be discussed in the next session. Thank you.